Thank you for watching or listening to episode 15 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, July 1st, and your favorite podcasters are still undefeated at the GM Nightfalls this season. As always, Closet Warlock Jared.
Dude, I just use whatever's necessary for us to win.
And Chadocero.
I wasn't told to use stasis, so I used the regular, and I died because of it.
They're going to help me run down this week in Destiny. But before we let the dogs out, make sure to subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe, and then subscribe again to our podcast on Spotify and iTunes. And don't forget, your boys are now tubers, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the video version on our cleverly named channel, Conqueror's Corner. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod, where we have links pinned to the podcast YouTube channel as well as to the Discord server. Join the Discord server so we can meet up, game together, talk about Destiny, and take questions for the mailbag. Last call for the giveaway for the DLC of your choice or the equivalent silver. Very easy contest is posted on the Discord as well as on Twitter. So make sure you screenshot and tag us, and we will announce the winner next week at the top of the episode. If you came to see us or listen to us from the No Cap podcast, thank you, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get weird.
All right, we have a wonderful TWAB this week. We have so much to talk about, so we're going to get into it quickly. So first thing that happened this week is we met Coria finally, and we took her out, and it's time to celebrate with Saint. And who's bringing the vodka to the party? So we're going to start. What did y'all think of the story mission?
Well, I can definitely say it was a fun boss fight. There's ways to skip a couple of things. Now Ryan's making a face because he always makes a face. He never likes anything ever. But the reason I liked it is because I know that's not the end of it. There's things that are going on in the background that make me anticipate what's going to happen next. And I did like that it gave you short snippets of each of the three other missions, and then it gave you a boss fight that you could just smash instantly if you wanted to, or kind of draw it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think we was getting it this week. For some reason, I thought we was getting the Coria next week, but it was a pleasant surprise to get in there and hear some of the great dialogue. And I think the Saint lines, it was S tier, and Mithrax too. I think them two together, and maybe more of them together as the season moves along into the next season, would be a plus. So I have a question for you,
the
Chad.
reason. Hold on. So the reason you thought there was another week was probably because there was like a lore page still left to get.
Well, I know we had the 3 different corrupted missions, and then I thought after the 3 completed, then that would be the Coria week, but we completed the 3rd one and then went into Coria.
Hey, listen, you guys better not move on from this before I get to give my thoughts, but go ahead and ask Chad your question.
Did we actually kill Coria?
I mean, here's the thing. Even if we did actually kill Coria finally, the way that Savathun works is uses everything as another piece on the board. So no matter how instrumental we would have thought Coria was, it's just another pawn on the board for her. So it's definitely very, very, very possible that was the real Coria that we killed, depending on how this season ends. Because it could have been a simulation of Coria, but it's highly unlikely. I think it was the real one, which I know made a lot of people mad because they think, oh, this is a major lore piece. It can't be done by a little tiny, not even boss fight, and then we kill it out of nowhere. And I understand that reasoning, but they can't make a raid for every major lore boss that Destiny ever has. Otherwise, there'd be too many raids.
So I remember in Season of Rivals how we killed Nocris again, and we killed him in an ascendant plane, right? Mm-hmm. So Coria, we killed her in a Vex simulation, or one of the timelines in a Vex simulation.
Yes.
So to me, I'm thinking she's going to turn up again in some way. I don't know. Won't be in the same instance again, but I'm just feeling that that's not over. Go ahead,
Like
Fox.
Coria the Corrupted or something like that.
Yeah.
What was her or its name in the mission whenever you were fighting it? I didn't even pay attention.
It's
I'm
the
sure Chad
Dreaming
knows.
Mind. Courier
Okay.
Blade transformed the Dreaming Mind.
Blade transformed. I do recall seeing that.
Yeah.
So you say that you can't have every like raid boss or every lore like big lore person be a raid boss. Like why would you agree that Korea is more important to like the Destiny verse than like the raid lair bosses that you did for the Leviathan?
Yes. I think lore wise, yes, definitely more important than at least the Vex Mind. What was the Vex Mind on in the Leviathan one? Because Spire had the Cabal dude who was like a flash in the pan, who was a general that was just trying to take over the Leviathan for the red. But the gosh, I can't even remember the Vex Mind because it was the core of Nessus, but there's
I
no
believe
other
you're.
lore
Are
behind
you
it.
talking about Argus? Is that
Yeah,
who you're talking
yeah,
about?
because there's no other lore behind Argos besides what happened in that raid lair. That was it.
So, what about the boss from Scourge of the Past?
Um, there's definitely no lore behind that one either. There
Okay. What
is
about
more. I want to say there's more. It shows more what the Fallen can do with technology, and it gave us a bigger version of tiny things that they could use in the future, which is what they did with the Briggs. Um, but it was more highlighting what the Black Armory was doing and what the Fallen can do given the chance at the Black Armory tech.
the Sanctified Mind?
I'm trying to remember that one.
See what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this is
Garden.
this kind of a bad argument, in the fact that from Bungie, I've seen that thrown around a lot, but I really think that Korea should have at least been one of a boss of maybe like the not the final boss, but the one of three bosses in a dungeon. It's almost like all these expunge missions were combined for one big dungeon, and then you would have like three boss fights, and then they just split it up in order to uh, make these expunge missions this season. I personally would have preferred it to be a dungeon as opposed to how we got it.
Okay. I understand that. I get what you're going from. And to me, I think if you had it locked behind a raid, some people that don't do raids would complain that how I would get closure on a story mission that part of a game I don't play. So I think with a lot of these characters that people care about, I'm okay with putting them in the story mission. And you're getting more bang for your buck for the season pass. So it's only $10, so you're getting some pretty good storytelling inside of the season.
I mean,
For use of that.
and going off of what Jared and you are saying, because that's what I do. You technically would rather this be a dungeon, but you also admitted that all these missions put together kind of make a dungeon. So there you go. And then Jared, we had to kill because of what Jared said is right. A lot of people can't get into the raid, so there's story that they can't play through if you lock a boss in a raid. So that's why we killed Oryx outside of the raid and inside the raid, so that people could get closure even if they didn't go into the raid to kill Oryx themselves. They had to do that in order to do that. Now, I agree with you for these. Like, I would have loved to have seen Korea as a part of the Savathun raid, but you would have to, like, with these lore bosses, it would be amazing to have just like Taken King, where all of the character stuff flows and then leads into the big story and leads into the raid. And you see all these names that you recognize from the storyline and the lore pages in the raid as bosses that you kill. That's really interesting, and I like that way more than what they did here. And I can't agree with you there.
So, what percentage of people that are so into the lore that it would upset them that the person they've been reading about in the lore you didn't get to kill them in the game are not paying for the season pass? Like,
I
what does
mean,
that Venn diagram look like?
based off of what you've said before, which is you just wait for me to read you the lore, you've stated right now that you would prefer someone like that, so important to the lore, even though you don't know the lore, to be a dungeon boss or a mid-level raid boss. So the most vocal minority, which is usually what they are the people that are going to be voicing their outrage about it.
It would get a lot of upvotes on Reddit.
Yeah.
Get that karma, baby. That sweet, sweet karma. So let me ask you guys: would you have rather have been? Would you have rather have been a dungeon with like 3? I guess you could have had 4 bosses total, or would you have rather had the way that we had it?
I mean, the way that we have it with the weekly missions, how would you have done the weekly setup that they did for Season of the Chosen and this season with a dungeon? Would you just release the dungeon immediately, or would you just have it in sections and then squish it together? Because then people would see that's a lazy dungeon. You just squished all these missions together and then made it a dungeon.
Well, I mean, I think that you could probably put a little bit of flow in between. I mean, that's the same argument of you have these 4 missions and the first third of them is the same in every one. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I mean, it's just reusing one puzzle. Content. Yeah. We're probably not going to agree on this, but
I think that you're gets back to the drip feed versus all at once content. What is that boiling down to?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with this week by week thing because I think the rewards that you got at the end of the mission was pretty decent. So that's kind of what made me okay with it. All right, so Solstice of Heroes back to celebrate, and the European aerial zone is coming back, and there's going to be a shotgun in there, and of course we got the armor again to upgrade and grind out and all that good stuff. And again, to the Eververse store, there will be the elemental armor ornaments coming through for all 3 classes. Fox, you got your silver locked and loaded?
We're at born ready would probably be the best way when it comes to silver. I got that credit card in there. It's not even my mom and dad's credit card. It's my own. And it's not even a credit card. It's actually a debit card. So there's actually real money at the end of it. So, but yeah, I'm ready. I will buy the set for, I can't remember. Last year, did you have to buy like the Solar, the Void, and the Arc, or did you buy it per character?
It's per character, and then whatever subclass you have on is what the color that it is.
So I will buy the Warlock. I will probably buy the Hunter, and I will not buy the Titan armor.
Well, you're missing out.
Yeah, I would say these are looking pretty cool. They also released a little trailer today about Solstice of Heroes and all that good stuff, and some more cool dialogue from Sane and from Mithrax again. So go give that a watch to see what you have looking forward to coming through next week. And
yeah,
we seem we are getting a weapon with the European aerial zone this time, and it's a shotgun. We haven't got to them yet. There's going to be some shotgun nerfs, but what are you all hoping for in this shotgun?
Well, if you watch it frame by frame, like I do and some other people do, you'll notice that the enemies get frozen right before the shotgun blast. And it makes things more cinematic and more interesting, but you also see a solar muzzle flash. And based off of the Solstice stuff, the Void Lock has a hung jury, which is a void weapon. The Hunter is holding something that's shooting blue. It looks like Cryosthesia, even though it's not arc, but it looks like an arc shot. And then you have the other person holding the shotgun is wearing solar glow. So it's probably going to be a solar shot. They've been on a tear with precision slug rifles. So I don't.
Well, we got a precision slug this season, so I don't think they'll double up on that.
I don't think yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be. What do you think? It's going to be a faster fire rate?
It can be a pellet precision frame. We haven't had one of those since Garden of Salvation.
Was that Sojourner's Tale? Was that the precision this?
Yeah, it's a precision slug. but there's also precision pellet. And
That was that Prophet of Doom.
Yep. So that'd be cool to have. That's also Retold Tale for those Dreaming City people.
And I grinded hours and hours and hours that lost sector that had the higher drop chance for the Retold Tale.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. Shifty had like the 5 out of 5. Mine was only 4 out of 5. But it was dirty. With that shotgun, I hope it's. Do you remember when like 1-2 punch came in as a perk and like how cool it was?
Yeah.
I hope they have something like that up their sleeves, like a unique perk.
Oh, yeah.
It may not be as good as 1-2 punch because there was some stuff you could stack with it to make it pretty nasty. But I kind of hope it's something like that. I'm tired of. Seems like every shotgun we get is a PvP shotgun. We don't really ever get PvE shotguns, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, the slugs kind of turned out being a pseudo PvE one just because of all the Luna wells and all the bosses with a big crit spot that you can hit reliably from just far enough away. But yeah, it would be nice to get at least an interesting synergy in perks that we just don't get on anything else.
Like we never had a trench barrel 4-pull or a 1-2 punch 4-pull. Like I think that would do it for me.
Filthy.
Yeah.
That'd be ridiculous. I'd love it.
All right, Vault of Glass hard mode is coming to the game July 6th, and the light level is going to be 1350.
Oh, fucking wild!
Yes, and that's what the Grandmasters are, but Grandmasters lock 25 under, and that's not the case here. So if you're somebody that grounded out bounties and your season pass is up there 300 to 400, you're going to have an easier time. I just surpassed 200 like last night. So I think I got to 1340. So if you get to that 1341, I get you to that next delta to where they're not showing up as swords. So I know majority of players is probably not there. So you're going to be at probably at least a -10 or a -15 to -20 underneath here. And that's contest mode again, basically. So it's going to feel like day one raiding. So if you run around for the time of the day one raid, this is going to be pretty close to that level of difficulty and really going to bring a challenge.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I promise.
It's not that bad. But what would 21? What is it? 230 season pass?
Yeah,
maybe 225 to 230 season pass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I'm at 199, so I'd have to grind out a mad amount of bounties, but that's not even that bad for the next 5 days? No. Yeah. Like including tonight, 5 nights where I could just sit there and smash bounties. So divided that up, that's 7 levels a night to reliably get above that for me, already being a pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have plenty of weeks of having master mode. You don't have to do that to yourself. Plus, being 25 under, if you practice with GMs, it's going to be tough, but it's not going to be crazy.
Yeah, if you've been playing GMs the past 2 weeks, this isn't going to be too difficult. It's the most difficult thing is getting a solid 6 people to get in there and that has experience with this kind of stuff. So, Fox, have you looked into these time lost weapons that's coming?
I have been. We kind of mentioned it. I know we've been saying it to each other for a while about let's just hold on to these spoils and kind of see what happens with the time lost weapons. And it seems like we might have been vindicated a little bit today with that. So not directly reading from the TWAB, but kind of a summarization, and please jump in if I'm incorrect. So the challenge modes on each encounter, whenever you're in master difficulty, if you complete that, you will receive the time lost, aka adept version of whatever the raid weapon is that week. It will rotate. It is not a random drop. So Chad won't get Vision of Confluence, and I won't get Fatebringer, and Jared won't get Hezen Vengeance or whatever. Everybody will get the same one. And then once you unlock the weapon, whenever you complete Atheon on master difficulty, you will be able to spend an undetermined amount of spoils in order to get another roll of the time lost version of that weapon. If you guys had to guess, because it's 20 for the normal mode version, I think they're going to go 40 or 50 for time lost.
I think 40. Because double seems right to me. Plus, it'll give you an even amount to run out 100% of spoils if you're maxed. So that'll get you
6
drops. So exactly 6 drops versus 4 drops, and then
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
I would say you're right on that. The main thing, and we've talked about this a little bit. I assume, and I can't recall like exactly which TWAB it was out of, but these time loss versions will take the adept mods.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you masterwork these adept versions, it doesn't just give you a stat boost in one area. So say if it's handling, it'll give you like stats across the board. And a lot of those mods are awesome and will give you like a +9 to range with an adept range mod.
Oh yeah, I want to get that Heathens slapped in adept big ones on there. Boy, just go to town on some bosses with it.
So, if you're searching for that God Roll 2 for the time loss version, it's going to be a lot easier because in perk columns 3 and 4, you're getting an extra perk. So, double the cost to me is just like it's right on the money because you're almost getting 2 rolls in one at that point, let alone it being adept.
You're basically getting 4 rolls in one.
You going for that super God roll? The PvE and PvP God roll in one?
Yeah, that's can definitely be a thing.
It's going to happen to Ryan on the gun he doesn't use.
Right, yeah. The
physical
like found
verdict
verdict or something. No. I like that scout, man. That
you do?
Yeah, I use it in the raid a lot. And I actually used it in Glassway, I want to say.
Yeah, you did. You both did, yeah.
Because I have like a full auto tunnel vision or something like that on it.
Yeah,
I got rewind Firefly.
Roll.
It's nice.
No, I think it's full auto. Yeah. I got something with full auto. Full auto is a necessity to me though for PvE scout.
Absolutely. I think with the 150 scouts, I rarely use them, but I think with those, I don't need the full auto. So, you can do Vault of Glass on both normal mode and hard mode. But say you do your hunter for the first run on hard mode of the week, right? And you're like, all right, I'm gonna go back to do the regular with some of the other buddies that that's not ready for hard mode. You're only gonna get spoils at that point because those chests are the same for that character. So after you run it through once, the next time through it's nothing but spoils. Don't matter if it's on hard mode or regular mode. So if you do regular mode on Tuesday and then you're saving for hard mode on Friday, the only chest that will be Pinnacle potentially is going to be the challenge chest that has a time loss weapon at that point. And you're not for certain if that's going to be at Pinnacle, at level, or 1310 max.
I have a question. Keep in mind it's been like 5 hours since I read the TWAB. There was something in there about like high stat rolled armor, correct?
Yes.
So, are you guaranteed a weapon, or can it be a weapon or an armor piece?
Okay, so the armor piece will come from a chest just like normal, but the challenge mode encounter, you get the 2 chests. The second chest will have the time loss weapon, and the first chest is like a random drop of whatever the encounter normally is.
Gotcha.
And then the stat roll is actually going to be based on a weekly rotation for like mobility, strength, intellect, discipline, and recovery. And so, like, say week 1, it's mobilities so that means all the armor that drops for you will have a high stat roll in the mobility. And it says a high stat peak in that. So, and that's for that entire week. So if it's intellect week, you might want to, be grinding a little bit more that week.
I've been grinding out those discipline rolls.
Yeah.
On my warlock, trying to get some
Oh yeah,
dirty discipline rolls for for those stasis turrets. Man, those things are ridiculous.
And Oppressive Darkness will come back one day. They can't keep that away from us.
That's the world I someday hope to live in.
All right, so I'm pretty sure we're very excited for that and looking forward to it. Now it's time to move on to some weapons sandbox changes. Most of this is going to focus on PvP. There's going to be some PvE aspects to it. We'll try to point that out as we go along. The first thing, aggressive range shotguns. That is Fell Winter's Lie, Found Verdict, what's the kinetic one from Trials?
Astral Horizon.
Yeah, that one.
They changed everybody's rolls on.
So the cone angle is going to change to widen it out a bit. It's going from 4 to 4.25 degrees. So that means it's going to be a little bit more difficult to land the pellets that you need to get a one-shot kill. Also, shotguns across the board. Damage fall-off will now start 2 meters sooner, but the damage fall-off floor is extended by 2 meters. So what they're trying to do here is have shotguns that in order to get the one-hit kill, you need to be pretty close. But you can still have the ability to two-shot from a farther distance. So this means probably the aggressive frames are probably going to fall off a little bit of usage, and precisions and lightweights might be going up some.
Yeah, they definitely did them here, just like the OG memed to death fusion rifle nerf, where they just increase the cone and just reel back the fall off. And I mean, it worked for fusions. Fusions were monsters, absolute monsters, and now they're just a meme. So, I mean, I hope that the same thing happens to shotguns a little bit here and there. But I also, it depending on what they do, because they also said their plans are, they showed their plans for the rest of the weapons for season 15, kind of a little teaser, and I'm excited about the fusion changes. So I'm hoping it just levels out.
So Fox, how you feel about your Astral?
Yeah, dude, that gun, whatever. It's a principle thing at this point. So I've been trying to snipe a little bit whenever I'm in PvP. I feel like we're probably headed towards that direction. Can't wait for all the aimbots and the wall hacks. Since nobody will be using shotguns, they're all going to switch to snipers. So it's probably going to be fun. So I've been trying to become more proficient with sniping. And I actually, the Kratos Revenge got like a opening shot, maybe like a quick draw opening shot or something like that on it. Something with, or maybe moving target opening shot. And it felt pretty good. So I like it, the role that I have on it. And it feels really good in Gambit as well, like invading. So I've been trying to do that a little bit, because I think it's the pendulum is about to swing the other direction. So that's kind of just me trying to prepare myself.
I think grenade launcher stock is going up, and that's what it's going to be. The next thing they're touching is the 120 RPM hand cannons. They got a major buff and rework in Beyond Light, where they became 120s instead of the 110s, and they got a bunch of range. But this time they're taking down the damage of the crit. They're reducing the multiplier from 1.8 to 1.6, which means right now a crit is around 90 or 91, depending on what the formula shows on your screen, and now it's going down to 80. So all those damage perks like Rampage, multi-kill clip, and
high energy fire.
Well, hold on. So the ones that don't give you a 20% damage increase, you will not be able to 2-tap to the head. Now, high energy fire, empowering rift, well radiance, one for all, kill clip, you'll still be able to 2-tap. I think the only kill clip 120 is actually the old Loud Lullaby, which is Sunset, and the old Duke. So there might be a few people with those hanging around, but for the most part, they're wanting to do away with the 2-taps for the 120s. It's also reducing the range.
There's some nerd hanging on to those weapons somewhere.
Yeah. I just seen it in Crucible the other day. Actually, somebody running around with a Duke. And I was just like,
if I get killed by a Duke, what is it? Duke Mark 22. I'm not gonna be happy about that. Whenever they sunset the weapons, they should just be like not able to be equipped.
Yeah, I understand. But we stayed Destiny 2 instead of making a Destiny 3, so this is what you get for some of the part. And so they're also reducing the range and the aim assist stat by 1 to 2 meters, just depending on the stats of the weapon. There's also some perk changes. Drop mag is getting removed from all future drops, and it's getting a rework of the perk in the future. Pulse Monitor, it was not granting a handling buff, and now it's going to. Rewind rounds were now proc even if the last round of the mag didn't hit the target. And then Reservoir Burst will now detonate faster like Dragonfly does now. Any of these really stand out to you all? I think rewind rounds is something that I actually care about, but the other ones is like, meh, either way.
What do you guys like Pulse Monitor? Do you guys get as disappointed when you see that as I do on a weapon?
Yes, I it's usually an Insta Shard.
Yeah, I agree.
Same here. And I mean, I haven't even gotten a Reservoir Burst gun. That isn't the seasonal, was it the seasonal ritual weapon? What is it?
Oh, Null Composure.
Yeah, that's the only one. I haven't gotten a single fusion with Reservoir Burst.
Come on, man, you haven't got your plugs in
bro,
yet?
No, you know me,
you gotta
man.
get back to grinding, bro.
Even if I did, I would not get it.
He's been hanging out with Isaac too much, binding themselves together.
All right, so we also got some exotic weapon changes. Deadman's Tail, it shreds the Crucible and mouse and keyboard users on Steam. And if you look at the usage rates, it's not really much on the consoles right now. So they're trying to do it to where it keeps its usage in the console range, but takes it back on M&K. So they removed the hip fire damage fall off scalar, and the aim assist cone angle was reduced from 1.5 to 1.2. So this means while you're hip firing, you're probably not going to be hitting those 50-meter shots when you're not even close to the head anymore. So now you're going to have to do a little bit more aiming and a little bit more closer to the target to get the aim assist on M&K.
Do you think they did that to kind of prevent the mop-up kills, like your grenade launcher usage that you talked about? Because that was whenever we'd play trials and those guys were bouncing around, that was quite frustrating with the grenade launcher and a dead man's tail.
Yeah, you're still going to see it, but it's not going to be as effective at the ranges that it was. So now they need to be more around the hand cannon range. You're talking about 30 meters at that point to pull that kind of stuff off. They got to be a little bit more accurate too. So they're going to take it down some, but with the nerfs to 120 hand cannons, you're still going to see a lot of dead mans because it can still two-head one body from like 60 meters. And then Sleeper Simulant is getting back, putting on the pedestal that it deserves. And it's getting a 16.5% buff. And wow, it's going to put it as the highest DPS heavy weapon, I'm pretty sure, which this is great to go along with maybe some of the nerfs we have coming in the future that this might be on everybody's loadout again. And it might be the damage king for Gambit.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So do you think so wasn't Sleeper, it was like a 5-part quest before, right? back before the
Yeah,
TCG?
during the Warmind season, the second, I think that was the second ever season, right?
Curse of Osiris, yeah.
Yeah, Curse of Osiris, and then it went to escalate the escalation protocol. Um, it was split up into it was split up into like 5 or 6 different parts where you had
They
to
called, was it Warmind?
yeah,
Yep.
Warmind. Where you had to kill enemies, pick up some stuff, go here, go there, kind of exotic quest.
Didn't you have to get like so many of those? You have to shoot the things or open up the. You had to do something.
Oh, yeah. You have to go talk to the singing prisms that's around Mars.
Gosh, I'm gonna be haunted by my 39 out of 40 on that forever. But yeah, I think that was involved too.
Yeah, and then the catalyst was a nightmare because it only dropped from Spire of Stars, correct?
Yep.
No, I have no proof that it ever
all
came
of
from
us got
Spire.
it. All of us got it. I know. And then the quest to get it done was a nightmare. It was terrible.
I mean, I just killed some stuff. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, you got like the kindergarten version of it.
Hey, same catalyst.
So with that catalyst, coolest part about Sleeper was whenever you would fight like a Hydra and you could like bounce it off the shields.
Yeah, it destroyed that Black Armory boss.
Yeah, yes it did.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and that's an iconic weapon from D1 as well.
Yeah, so all the changes we just talked about is all happening on June 6th. So they also went into the TWAB, talked about stuff.
July 6th?
Oh, yeah, July 6th, sorry. Yeah, July 6th when all that stuff's happening on Tuesday. So now we have some more stuff that they gone on to, which is probably it's going to happen in either the start of season 15 or at least it's on its radar to happen as soon as possible. And the first thing, Chad, fusion rifles are getting a complete rework.
Ooh, yep. So they said that that they're looking to more subdivide out each subfamily of frame for the fusions. So they're planning to do a major rework on that, changes to the perks and the mods, and custom tuning to most of the exotic fusion rifles, which means each fusion is going to more than likely have a rework on all those things. I think Telesto is the only one they're going to have to leave out just because of how it works. But I think the rest of them, hopefully Merciless. Like if Merciless came with rewind rounds, it'd be great. Or if it, because then the last shot, you might get a couple of shots back. But then think about the Jotun gets a rework. It might get a little bit of nerf here and there. Maybe something changes, add a catalyst to it. But each of those exotic fusion rifles is going to get looked at in a major way, which is going to be really fun for me, especially. And they're counting Mythoclast as a fusion.
Yeah.
In as it should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully we get a kinetic fusion rifle to pair with fixed Mythoclast to just double up on that kind of stuff. But so right now there's 4 different fusion rifles. There's rapid fire, adaptive, and then precision and high impact. Is that one too many?
Yeah, probably.
Too many.
You probably need hard hitting range, mid, and then low and fast. So lower range, but more of a burst damage gun, kind of like how Bastion fires. You can just kind of hold it and fire off a couple of rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then a mid all rounder, and then obviously your Glaciocasm rentals on the back end there, which with the really long charge time, but they can shoot across the map.
Yeah. So the next thing I talk about is breach grenade launchers. They perceive that its use is going up, and they understand the playing against it can be very frustrating. So they're going to have a tuning pass that deals with priming and cleaning up targets. And then I think this one that like we all love to see is that scout rifles and hand cannons are getting a PvE buff. They're saying that high end PvE game modes it's taken too much to kill some of these miners.
You think?
Yeah.
Miners are hardly known.
17 scout rifle shots, precision scout rifle shots to kill a red bar.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, it's definitely too much. And also machine guns that's not performing the way they want it to be in PvE. It's not doing an intentional roll, so we're looking forward to potentially a buff there. And then they also go into special ammo economy, and particularly in PvP. So, we got to watch that they might touch us in PvE. You never know, and how you can get a kill with a one-hit shotgun, and then if you got double scabs on, you're picking up 3. So now you have 4. So you're compounding the use of special weapons.
Put it back in the chest.
And
Let the chest spawn every 45 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely a way to increase movement and stuff. Well, guys, I think we gotta pour out a whole beer for our baby. Anarchy has been at top for too long, and they're saying here that it's a jack of all trades grenade launchers, and they were going to do some kind of tune to it to maybe it's only the best in 1 or 2 traits. We have questioned on that thing for a long time, boys.
Yeah, we're going to have a moment of silence next week, I think.
Well, maybe we hold off to whenever they actually announce what the nerf is going to be.
Okay. Moment of silence will come, kind of like stasis, whenever we
I got
a moment of silence for it.
I think I'm going to crack open a good bottle of bourbon to celebrate the end of that one. And then...
give me a 40 to pour out.
The last thing here is that exotic primaries don't get any use in in-game PvE content. And I don't really recall ever really using one. I think the only thing we've ever tried to do was Outbreak perfected on Lake of Shadows runs. And that was, I forget, I think, was it Overload was on pulse rifles that season, or
it was either Overload or Anti-Barrier.
It was Unstoppable because it was Unstoppable Overload for Lake of Shadows. So it was Unstoppable.
Was it not Anti-Barrier?
Yeah,
they didn't have Anti-Barrier bow on that one. You're probably right. I think it was.
Yeah.
Really, the only... What was is it Skyburner's Oath? That's the Cabal one that we used for Spire of Stars, or tried to use it to shoot through the shields. The funky Cabal one that you want to like
Skyburners.
Yeah, I remember trying to use it. If they weren't all garbage, we would probably use them.
There's some potential there.
Yeah,
Crimson could be dirty with that health regen on it.
Yeah, I think about malfeasance with how many taken stuff there is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what comes to mind right now. I can't think of any others, but yeah, hopefully they add some champion mods to them, or they do something else to really help you in that way. Then also, in season 15 or a little bit farther in the future, they're looking into exotics, and without a catalyst, for let them be able to make orbs and have a kill counter. So I think that's pretty given. Like, that's what we want, and they didn't give an exact timeline for that, but that's something they're looking into and wanting to have. All right. Also, this week,
what would you do for that? Like, you have to masterwork it.
I just think let them drop that as is that way. It's exotic. Why?
Make well, yeah, I guess. I wouldn't be too tore up about it that way.
Yeah. All right, we had a Grandmaster this week, Insight Terminus, for the third time. I think it's the third time. We had it last season, and then we had it
third.
Season
it had
10.
to be third. I think it's third.
Yeah. Went through it flawless. Where were you all at? You all died one time?
Twice.
Where you are?
Bro,
one time I died trying to save Chad.
Yeah, I got my flawless run in for the challenge, anyways, for the seasonal challenge, and you didn't have to do it for a Grandmaster. You had to do a Legend or above. But at this point, the only thing I'm playing is Grandmasters for strikes for Nightfalls, anyways. As Fox mentioned in the opening, I'm some kind of closet warlock, but That stasis turret is probably the coolest thing in the game. And if I have an excuse to jump on the Warlock and run that, I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. And Foxy did the same. And that boss room was kind of easy mode, wasn't it?
It was a lot easy mode. So I ran Night Watch, anti-barrier, scout rifle. I ran the Truth Teller. I think it was, auto-loading demolitionist on it. And with blinding grenades. And then Anarchy. So mod-wise, I was running, obviously, like a grenade launcher, scavengers, because it was hitting Truth Teller and Anarchy. And some charged with light stuff, protective light. Nothing too crazy. Just the standard stuff. The only room with two of us throwing those freezing turrets. As far as like your aspects and all that stuff, you want to make sure you have the ones that whenever you're taking damage, your grenade energy refills. I think my discipline was like 103, 104. I'm kind of set up that way. I was running Boots of the Assembler. Kind of nice because I could stand off to the side and heal my homies there. One thing I'll say in that the really big room where you had to deliver the orbs to unlock the door, make sure we always kind of do that room from the entrance. Make sure you don't stand too close to the rock wall, because if you die, sometimes your orb gets trapped under there and you can't be rezzed. We learned that 3 times in previous runs, in previous seasons. But the boss room, whenever all 3 plates open up, we were standing on the middle one as soon as it started. So by the time the Agium got to us, we already had it captured. Then we all rotated left, and Garrett threw his super. And once I had turrets out, I threw my super on the right side. And I think Chad threw his Ursa shield once on the right side. And
yeah, just to help capture the plate initially.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fast. Remember what our time was by any chance? I had it in the Discord there. But I mean, we beat it pretty quick. Flew through it, honestly, and not bad. This one is almost grindable this season. Have the right loadouts.
Yeah, it's 25-minute run.
Yeah, and we went. I think we got to the boss in 20. I want to say because I remember we cleared the major room with like 16, 17 minutes on the clock. So another 2 minutes to get another minute to get to the boss room. So 7 minutes in the room. But yeah, I mean, I didn't change anything. If I'd known we were all going Stasis Warlock, I would have done that too, because I like having fun freezing things with the turret.
Mm-hmm.
But I just did my whole Ursas. I didn't do Warmind Cells this time. I did Protective Light and stuff because I was trying to go flawless too. But I just couldn't do it. I died once by accident. And the next time I died, it was all Ryan's fault.
Boss.
But yeah, I mean, that boss room with the if you're running 3 stasis subclasses, at least one of the warlocks, you're going to be freezing everything and stopping stuff. And it gives you breathing room. And when we had 2 warlocks throwing those turrets with, I think each of you had 100 discipline or something nuts.
Yeah.
You can throw them back to back to back, and it's like having 3 other players with you just sitting there freezing stuff, and it's great.
And the blinding nades, don't forget those. Man, those things are pretty wild too.
They give you space.
So
100%.
There's like so void wise, which there's a couple void shields. That's really it, right?
Yep.
At the end of the boss room, there's some void shields that come out. So with it, there can be Truth Teller can roll with blinding grenades. Was it Orwing's Maul can run with blinding grenades?
Yep.
You can also run. I think Empty Vessel has blinding grenades, and then Ignition Code has blinding grenades. I'm sure there's probably at least one other one that I'm forgetting.
I think they're all Sunset.
Okay, so if you don't know what you have, if you're like a hoarder, don't forget you can go to DIM, which is Destiny Item Manager. Pull it up. There's a search bar at the top. Just type in blinding grenades, and it's gonna darken everything that doesn't have blinding grenades and highlight anything you have in your vault or on your character that does. So make sure you use that. It's a free resource, and it's my favorite of the loadout managers. And have any questions, just shoot us a DM or something, and we'll help you out there.
Yeah, actually, I didn't. I didn't listen to my own advice. I'm usually preaching tier 7 resilience, and I told myself, what, I'm not doing that. I'm going with 5. And I didn't tell them as we went through it, and I went flawlessly. And I use it's the brow. It's the helmet for the warlocks. Whether you get the energy kills, you get grenade energy.
Verity brow.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, Verity.
Yeah, I use that to get my grenades back quickly, and it actually enhances the hands to the grenades a little bit too. But I use the charge with light mods to whenever you throw a grenade, you get your grenade energy back. I had 2 of those stacked on with I think the grenade launcher mod where you get multiple kills, you get charged and breaking the shield. So that's what I did.
Yeah, I use the grenade launcher one, and maybe if you break a shield or something, maybe you get charged.
Costs 1. It's pretty easy.
There's kind of a lot. There's kind of a lot of stuff you can use. All depends upon like what flavor your armor pieces are. Kind of on those that I guess it'd be what, like the 4th slot mods that you get there. So if you can't find one, Protective Light is on Void. So
yep.
Something to look out for if you're having trouble finding it.
And this week's Nightfall weapon was Hung Jury, and reprised weapon from Destiny 1. And as mentioned before, scouts are going to get a buff in the future, so this is something you might want to get a decent roll on and stash. Most scout rifles in the past for me, it's just been like, oh, it's a scout rifle, I'm not using that. It's either a delete or might keep one of them. Besides the Night Watch, I've never really used many other scouts, and I've used this one, for like
Randy's
3 games. Well, yeah, Randy's it's different, but yeah. So I want to go with the PvE roll for you. I want to go small bore, tactical mag, rapid hit, and explosive payload. To me, that is the role I'm looking for that.
I would love to have that role.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
I think that's exactly my Night Watch.
Yeah, that's my Night Watch too.
It's great.
Yeah,
just be able to slap that adept big ones on there though. On this one.
I love. Well, yeah.
For a PvP role, you're gonna go fluted barrel, steady rounds, moving target, and box breathing. That box breathing, you get that procced, and you get 3 headshots in a row. That's it. You don't need to go for the 4th shot. So that's
coward.
That is, that's pre-nerf Luna's Howl time to kill. That's the 0.67.
No, don't, please no. If you're a PC player, you probably don't know, but man, Luna's Howl was hot whenever on console back in the day. It wasn't that bad on PC, I guess, from what I read. That was kind of before I switched over.
Yeah, I think back then the 140s had so much range compared to the 180s that like the 180 couldn't get in the range to compete with.
Most people use
Ace.
like Ace.
Yeah,
Ace of Spades was a hot one, hot in the streets.
Yeah. So, but the thing about what Bungie needs to fix with Hunjuri, it takes up half my screen, and I'm even at 105 frame of view, and it is huge. Like it needs to they need to drop it down like a lot, and I don't.
Whenever you're aiming, this is what it looks like.
It's like taking up this, yeah, nuts.
Like taking up all this real estate here.
Yep. Bungie, please fix that.
It wasn't like that, and it was not like that in Destiny 1. I wonder what that gun looks like on console at like 85 FOV or whatever it is.
No, you can just change your FOV to 85 and find out.
You let me know, Chad. But, I mean, it has to be the entire screen.
Yeah, I don't know if they shrink the size of it scaled with field of view, but man, they need some changes with that. All right. I forgot Chad's name again.
No! Don't tell him, Chad. Let him figure it out.
Oh
It's
man,
the name of the title for the war. That's it. The chronological Chad.
The chronological? It's
Chad the chronological Chad the chronological chronicler.
It's not chronological in any way, that's for sure this time. Oh man. So I want to talk about Saints a little bit, bringing it back. We didn't really talk about Saint in any past seasons, at least on the podcast. We had him as a character last season, but I didn't get into him because of Callus and Keitel having so much of the main point of the season. But this season, his interactions with the Elixni has been a major focal point, and the whole reason that he is there is because Ikora put him there solely because of his past and who he is, what he did to the Elixni, and just made that decision to try to kind of save Saint a little bit there. But she figured if someone like Saint could make friends and make peace with the Elixni, then anyone can. And she knew that Saint is a huge protector of the people. His whole reason for being is to protect others. And while he may not think of himself as the most powerful guardian, he is probably the most dedicated when it comes to protecting the city. Now, I have talked about him a little bit in the Six Fronts, and definitely talked about him with Osiris. I believe that was last week with his past on the season of the Dawn, us saving him, getting him out of there. Talked about a little bit about Curse of Osiris season, where we saw him in the tomb that was created for him by the Vex, in just great reverence. Someone that destroyed them for how many centuries. They respected him so much that they made him a pedestal, put him on it, put his dead body on it, healed all of the wounds that he had on his body, and left him there for us to eventually find, which they probably saw in their prediction engine. But this week, I kind of want to talk about why he has the ribbons on it. It's something that came up in Season of Dawn. It was a web lore that they released kind of before the seasons started. They do that here and there where they'll release like 2 different pieces of lore on the Bungie website. And this one, it starts out with a family, and they're barely alive. They don't have anything left of their house, and basically their whole little village is just scavenging. And it's from this first part's from the perspective of Jasleen, who was a little 9-year-old, and she calls him that light bearer, a giant in an iron suit, who was watching her father curiously, and he's talking to them and telling them, you need to come with me to the last city. We're trying to create a city under the Traveler, and humanity needs to come together to survive and thrive. And the father just simply says that they'll never make it. We can't afford to dream like you can. And he says, I would protect you. And her, Jasleen's father and mother both ignored him at that point. Now, Saint 14 wasn't a figure back then. He was simply a guardian, very young in his lifetime. And so Jasleen walks up to him, and after her parents are already ignoring him, and asks, my neighbor says that dregs eat children. Is that true? And he replies, I've seen it. And she says, I feel sorry for the dregs. And he looked at her and looked over the ruins of their village and then says to her, "What is their suffering compared to yours? You lost everything today, and still it was a good day, as these days go." And she just looks at him and says, "What do you mean? About what? Why is it a good day? I did not arrive too late to help, and I did not die today." "Do you not worry about dying?" she says. "I worry about not helping." "Have you ever lost a fight?" "More than I can count. I am no Ikora Ray, no Radagast." "Who are they?" "Guardians, like me." And she shrugs and says, "That's okay. You're my favorite." And then she just keeps going. "We remember those who help us. Has anyone ever helped you?" And he nods, says, "Yes. Oh, yes. A guardian like me saved me from the fallen when I was young, when I had lost everyone I was meant to protect. That guardian is why humanity must go to the traveler. The guardian's ghost and his light showed me a vision of humanity's potential. A land beneath the traveler becomes a safe place to stay." And then he's cut off, and the rest of the villagers come in with food. They've caught some rabbits, and they're going to actually eat well. And so Jasleen, before she leaves him, takes her bow from her hair, and wraps it around his gauntlet. And he says, "On that day, I will bring this with me." And she asks him, what's his name? And he says, "Saint." And she simply replies, "I will remember it." Now, he's obviously talking about us, the canon guardian that saved him, and it's something that we did in Season of the Dawn, where we protect him from a fallen walker, servitors, and a bunch of people trying to take him down. He just has that bubble up, and we go in and save him and talk to him here and there, and tell him about the future of what is going to happen, and just to reassure him, because he's in a place where he has lots of doubts at that time. And he kind of coins that "I'll remember it" throughout this lore piece. The next one, he runs into an older woman. She's kind of just in a building, hiding away, traveling for weeks. She had given the rest of her supplies to her daughter and her granddaughter in order for them to survive and make it to the city. At this point, the city is something that is actually a thing. There's now a actual community underneath the traveler, and something creaks down the hall, and she stands up, pulls a shiv, and a couple of figures with glowing eyes come up to her and just say something in a howl no earthbound mouth could make. So probably Elixni again. She starts thinking about her child and her grandchild, hoping that they survived. And this hulk of a man runs in and headbutts both of them to death, and just doesn't punch, doesn't shoot. No, he just headbutts everything that comes into that room that isn't a human to death. And she just sits there in awe of him, and he asks, "Where do you come from?" And she tells him, and he says, "Lynn sent me to look for you." And she scoffs and puts her shiv away and says, "She was supposed to go to the traveler." And he says, "Well, she made it. She made it the whole way, her and her daughter. And they sent me to come get you." And she points out, "Who gave you that ribbon?" It's an old friend, probably about your age now. And she says, "How long do you people live?" "We don't know." And the woman stares at him and tears a piece of her sleeve off and attaches it to his pauldron. And he says, "What is this?" And she says, "Your friend is clever. If I leave this with you, I will live forever. Make a mark on this world. Don't waste the time you have." And he says, "Yes, ma'am." They kind of look around, and he asks her, "What's your name again?" And she says, "May." He responds, "I will remember it." So he's making a point that if someone gives him a piece of their their clothing, gives them a ribbon, he will remember them, and he will remember that that's the person that gave them that ribbon. Ryan, would you like to?
Do you think that's kind of like in Rambo First Blood Part 2? Whenever that girl dies and he takes a piece of her dress and he ties it like a bandana around his head?
Yeah, probably in the same spirit as that, actually.
Man, I wish Snake 14 was a warlock. That'd be...
No, he's the best class. Clearly, he's the best class. So like it keeps going. He runs into the next part. He runs into a couple of children and just talks to them, and they tie a handkerchief to half of the pauldron, and the other do the same with more scraps of clothing and fabric. And he asked for their name, but they said we can't give our name to strangers, and so he just waves them off and lets them run off into the distance. And then there's another one where he saves a Titan. He saves another man. He applies a bandana to his arm. It's all these lavender, plum. It's all these dark purple colors. Then it goes into talking about Saint standing ahead of the Infinite Forest, right in front of it. He thinks back to Six Fronts, Twilight Gap, Boyle Pass, and Breaking of the Weapons of Rain. And he just thinks about the other Guardians always seem to remember where and when they found engrams that revealed the most treasured pieces of their arsenals, the Yaller horns and the Dark Age antiquities. But he couldn't get into it. But he could name every person who had awarded him an accolade over the course of his Guardian career. They covered every nook of his armor, and they adorned his ship, the Grey Pigeon. He had never talked about them, and as he looked upon the yawning, translucent field before him, he wished that he had. Now, it skips and goes to after you destroy Panoptes. And it's from Osiris' point of view, and he's thinking about Panoptes. He says, Panoptes is dead, and so is Saint. He finally found proof that Saint is dead in the Infinite Forest, because he found his body that we found. And he's there looking down upon the remains, and the Infinite Forest is shimmering around him. The Vex had built a die to carry the body of Saint 14, the Titan they had stripped of his light. There was no obvious killing wound on his armor. Perhaps they had replaced it. Segura ran a beam of light across his body. She says, Saint 14 carried these ribbons everywhere. He called them his accolades, Osiris replied. What were they for? And he thinks for a while, just staring at the remains, and I never asked. Now, the importance to these, and the reason why I want to talk about this particular lore tab, is because in Misrax's story about monsters, we see the ribbons used in multiple ways. We see them used as vines, ensnaring their prey, as a dragon's tail, as flames, as tentacles. We see them as many, many horrible and terrifying things. But to Saint, they are the wishes of humanity and of all the people that he saved and the people that he can protect and has successfully protected. But to the Elixni, he is still seen as a monster. And I think that relationship is definitely repairing. I hope that the party that we're going to be throwing next week, I hope that his suit is just made of purple fabrics. But it's really cool to see those parallels and see finally see where those ribbons came from and why they are important to Saint. It was that moment, because I remember I didn't remember this lore page when I was reading I was watching the Misrax story, and seeing how they were being used. I always thought it was really cool, and going into more lore about Saint to talk to you guys about, finding this particular passage really struck me with how the lore writers have pulled all these things together, and it's just I think it's great, and I hope that I can find some more stuff to share with you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, so So you know the Saint 14 ship that you can get? You could get in like season 2 of the Eververse store. I think it was called like the something pigeon, like black
Yeah, it was
pigeon,
the
gray
Gray Pigeon.
pigeon. Yeah, gray pigeon. So all those like streamers coming off of it were the fabrics that people had given him.
Yeah, apparently, yeah,
Hey,
that's
that's
what he
awesome.
says. Yeah, all
That
the
is
people that he
sweet.
saves, all the people that he runs into that respect him, give him one. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I was like, I used that ship for a very long time. I was really a big fan of that ship.
Yeah,
I
that thing
think I
was
still
stapled
have
to
it
my
on my
Titan for a
Titan,
long
I
time.
think.
Yeah, I do too. It's still there.
Yep. Any chances that Saint is in a suit next week in the tower?
Oh, I don't think so, but I really hope so. That'd be
Yeah,
great. He said he would wear a suit.
I think Bungie should put in the time to do that for little things here and there. You know, like the dawning event, like our Cora
Yeah,
changes her chest piece and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty
that'd be
cool.
sweet.
Yeah, Zavala gets like a pile of snow up on his bald head, something like
Yeah.
that.
Or like they just add like a little framed picture of Saint in his suit, like next to him and during like in his trials area.
Yeah,
Like just put it there.
yep.
Like you
Signify
won't
the
notice
night.
unless you're looking, but like just it'd be great. Like him with just like a glass arm around Osiris, that'd be great.
Didn't they get some kind of vodka company to sponsor it to put in the time for them to do it, and then like he's like holding it, and then it like pays for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like some Ciroc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no! If I was thinking Grey Goose, but it's not a pigeon. It's a bird though.
Yeah. Yep. Belvedere.
Oh shit, the same.
Yep.
Belvedere.
Let's get into this mailbag.
Hey, so hold on. So, I forgot. So the suit. What do you think he's like a bow tie guy, or what?
I mean, he likes ribbons, so I would assume a tie.
Yeah.
But you can also make a bow tie out of a ribbon.
So would the suit
bows
go?
and hair.
Would the suit go over the armor, or would the suit be just over his body without the armor?
I think the helmet stayed on, but the rest of the armor did not.
He paid 500 silver to get the ornaments to put on his armor, so he didn't have to change his armor.
Just like the hunters with their trousers.
Exactly.
Yeah, he used his transmog. His transmog tokens.
Oh
man. Okay.
All right. What do you think Bungie keeps turning? Why do you think Bungie keeps turning major lore characters like Zol and Curia into story and dungeon bosses instead of saving them to be raid bosses? Do you think it devalues them, makes them appear different to you? I feel like we kind of answered this earlier. Most of the time, raid bosses don't have huge lore and behind them, so I think they put the biggest characters in the story mode. You know, even in Beyond Light, Aramis was a story mode, and it was a one-time mission play. So I think it's just what they do, and I think it's for a good reason. So everybody gets to see you take out the big bad guys.
I mean, I think, first of all, I think Aramis isn't dead. She's just frozen. So she'll be back. She's just sitting there waiting for her time.
Coming back next season, Chad?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be.
Think it'll be seasonal content, like next after the next expansion.
I can't even say, honestly. I have no clue. All I know is they left her not dead for a reason. What that reason is, I have no clue.
Deepstone Crypt hard mode.
Ooh, Deepstone Crypt dungeon.
Either.
Instead of a floating shank, it's her just lobbing ice everywhere.
I don't want to go back to Europa. I'm Europa'd out. I need like a year away.
Listen, if they put a dungeon on there, I think that'd be so sweet. I don't need anything else going on.
All you would need to do is go to Europa for the dungeon. You wouldn't have to touch Europa, just the dungeon.
At that point, you don't even have to go around in the snow. That's a direct fly-in.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have to go to Europa. It'd be just like the Exo challenge. You just load in, do it, and bounce out.
That wasn't how it was on Shattered Throne. Remember, you had to go.
Oh yeah, you had to run through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
figure out who knew the best shortcut to get down there. So, I don't know. I've already spoke my piece. I think everybody wants everything for free, and God forbid you ever have to pay for anything after your initial $60 investment. You know, a game that you play for hundreds and hundreds or thousands of hours. God forbid you ever pay more than $60 for it. So we can't do that. We can't make anything behind the season pass. It has to go onto the free track for everything.
Yep. All right. Besides next season, and if there isn't a sudden plot twist next week, what do you think about the trilogy of seasons thus far, both story and content wise? So for the record, we have Season of the Hunt. Then last season we had Season of the Chosen, and then this season, which is Season of the Splicer. Season of the Hunt was bad.
So hold on. We got to go back farther than that, right? We got to go Black Armory, Gambit, or Season of the Drifter, and then
they're asking, how do we feel about the 3 seasons so far this year?
Okay, I thought it meant in comparison to the other.
No, it said because besides, so ignoring next season, and if there isn't something that happens next week, what do we think so far? I mean, being the lore guy and always talking nonsense with Jared on Tuesdays and Wednesdays during our GM runs, the slow story drip is my favorite. I remember watching telenovelas with my mom one day a week, sit there watching our soap operas and be like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen next, even though you already know what's going to happen next, but you can't wait to see it. I like it. I'm definitely excited because it's cool to see that Savathun was behind the scenes in Season of the Hunt. She's a little bit more behind the scenes in Season of the Chosen, and she's got her hands in Season of the Splicer. So seeing what she's going to do next season is I'm there for it. I'm ready for it, and I'm excited because she's just been more and more coming more into the forefront of the seasonal storyline. And the lore is telling us she's in the city. So how much closer can she get? I want to know.
You know, well, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about my purchase of the Beyond Light with the deluxe edition. Mm-hmm. So that's, everything since Beyond Light with all the seasons. And I think it's been completely worth the money, the content and the story wise, and the weapons and the raids. The raid that I got with that content, Ball of Glass is free, but it has been totally worth it, and I'm very pleased with it so far. And I'm really looking forward to the plot twist that is coming, I think, with Osiris being possessed or controlled in some way. But I do think there's got to be something in there that's we're not seeing that's going to happen.
I would rate Season of the Hunt at D, mainly because it was saved by the Hawkmoon quest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the seasonal content, yes, because that's ignoring all the Beyond Light stuff. Right.
And then last season, The Chosen, probably a C plus maybe. I wasn't crazy about the Battlegrounds. So, and this season's probably a B. I would say a B. I haven't been blown away. It feels a little too slow, 2 weeks too long to get to where we are. But I understand they're trying to fill out a calendar.
Yeah.
But we're on our third Iron Banner this season?
Third, yeah.
8 weeks in?
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of Iron Banner.
I think they pushed Iron Banner just for VOG.
Yeah, they pushed the extra pinnacles out.
Yeah.
All right, next question here is from George. Do you expect 140 RPM hand cannons to start outplaying the 120s in general now? Do you think they still have... Oh, this is many questions. You think we still have to kill Korea in an ascendant plane to end the endless night? And then what would you do about the grenade launchers in PvP? And how would you lower the available special ammo in PvP? All right, so first we'll just get to the 140s versus 120 hand cannons. I think the Adept Palindromes and the Adept with the time loss versions of Fatebringer are going to be the meta in PvP.
What's your best PvP palindrome? Have you looked?
Yeah, I have an Outlaw rangefinder. A lot of I think I built it on Destiny Gunsmith, and I got to 35 or 36 meters on it. So, and it feels really good. Ricochet rounds.
I think the best I had was quick draw rangefinder for as far as PvP role.
Yeah.
Quick draw.
Yep. I think 120s is still going to have a good place, especially with team shooting. So you're still going to be with a 2-head and 1 body. So you have a lower percentage amount of crits that you have to get. So they're definitely going to have a place, and especially somebody with kill clip, standing and empowering refs, they're still going to be very strong. I do think we'll have to kill Korea again in some kind of ascendant plane or some other version of herself. That's just me shooting the shot in the dark. That's just how I feel with most things that's taken.
Korea's dead.
I mean, she's simulating the Taken ability, which is why she can control Taken. But since she has free will, she's also still Vex, which is why she can be a Vex mind controlling Vex and corrupting them from the inside. Now, whether we teleported into an ascendant plane in that little boss room, I don't know. It didn't seem like it to me. But again, like there's 2 ways I can see it. Is the Nokris ascendant plane is it's dark, very Taken looking, not a lot of light anywhere, kind of a thing. But then you have the Oryx boss room, which is on the ship, and the reason that he could do that is because he's a monster and turn the entire ship into his ascendant plane. So he was able to be on the outlook of the ship and look out into the actual universe from his ascendant plane and see the universe. And I feel like since Korea is simulating Oryx, or at least the abilities, you can... she can probably do that same thing, make it so that her space in the Vex Nexus is an ascendant plane. But I couldn't really say. I mean, I hope she comes back. I hope she's a little thing that we can fight again somewhere down the line, but I don't know.
Korea's dead.
All right.
I think they blew their load on that part right there. I think it's
DED dead.
All right, Fox. How do you feel about the grenade launchers play in PvP? What would you do to them?
So, are we assuming that they cannot separate the sandbox to change it from PvP and PvE separately?
I say that the thing they could possibly change is some of the damage dealt by
PvP.
not hitting the target. Yeah.
Right. So I was going to say either if it's not a direct hit, if it's like a proximity hit or something,
yeah,
you either have to lower the proximity that you get hit by the grenade, which would probably screw with the PvE portion of the game, which is not what we want to happen. Or, like you said, they just nerf the damage of it to where it takes three or four close hits
Mm-hmm.
to kill.
So what I remember is like back when cluster bombs was meta and rocket launchers, how they took some of the damage that was on the rockets, that's the
On
combustion part.
impact, yeah.
Yeah, then they spread it out. That they reverse that with breach. They add more damage to the direct hit and take a little off the blast radius. So it's still putting out the same damage in PvE, but the blast radius and PvP is like cut in half or something like that. And then how would you lower the availability for special ammo in PvP? Fox, I think you've touched on it. Go back to the D1 version of special ammo crates.
Yeah, I said that half joking because that kind of sucked in Destiny 1.
I mean, if you spawn in with ammo, dying shouldn't drop it. Like, if you're spawning in with a shot or two, like, dying, if it doesn't come from a crate, and either make it so that you don't drop any more, or no matter how many scavengers you have, you're only getting one more shot.
Yeah, I like that.
Because then it would prioritize, like, well, if I'm not getting any more ammo, I don't need reserves mods, and I don't need scavenger mods or finder mods. So I can do something else. I can go with targeting. I can go with more handling. I can do other stuff. Because as of right now, my PvP armor is literally fusion everything. It's fusion scavs, fusion reserves, and then I think targeting, aim down sights, all that kind of nonsense.
Yeah. Do you think we could ever go to like for round based PvP and Destiny? Do you think we could ever go to the purchasing like Valorant or CS:GO has?
I think it would be better for Gambit than Crucible. I think Gambit should be where they workshop this stuff, man. Nobody likes it right now anyway. I like it. I'm like the minority.
Yeah.
So use that to be the proving grounds, and then have that be there to like test these things out. I'm not crazy about the purchase system on like CS:GO and Valorant and those things, but I might like it once I get into it. Who knows? Didn't they try to do that in the Warzone and Halo 5? Like the big team, the PV
Firefight.
That one.
It was like the firefight baby, where it was two teams in a firefight map, and they could kill each other and damage stuff.
Yeah,
and,
I think it was called Warzone.
You could do that.
Pretty sure.
You killed things, got points, and then you could go back to the base or back to a bank and buy better guns or vehicles. Yeah.
It might be a fun to play around with, or they ever like release Destiny Labs again, Crucible Labs, do still things like that. All right, what's your favorite PvE subclass to do patrols and just regular content with? Not necessarily the most difficult.
I'm ashamed of my answer for this.
I think it's Missile Titan with Curus the Falling Star. It's pretty fun.
That middle tree Solar Titan, where you can throw the hammer,
ballerina,
pick it up, and then you can spin your big hammer for your super.
I like how these are all Titan answers.
I really, really, really enjoy playing that subclass.
That throwing hammer is a ton of fun once you get going with it. You're just throwing it, chonking on people. It's fun.
Actually, I remember what mine actually is. It's Top Tree Solar Titan with Doom Archers, and just going around with the knee of justice in the air. It's just so fun.
The Peregrine Greaves.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one too.
The knee of justice. That was so funny. Whenever Chad coined that like day one of Shadow Keep.
They're the knee of justice, man.
So Chad, what's your favorite?
It's a hard choice because I like Curious, but if I'm just messing around, I gotta go with some kind of Peregrine thing because it's always fun.
Yep.
Just smashing everything to death with a non-super. But God, I haven't messed with that little throwing hammer in a long time. I might have to go back to that one and mess with it.
Apparently, that's the meta for DPS on the Atheon, so we probably need to
That's why I'm
get better
saying
at
it.
that.
I gotta use it and make a loadout for it.
Listen, we better not four-phase Atheon again, or I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh God,
disappointed in our hunter brethren.
Yeah.
All right.
You know who you are. You know who you are.
It's not me, guys, just for the record. All right. What's the next exotic that's returning from D1?
Ooh, oh no, I didn't see this question, so I didn't have anything prepped. Not Pocket Infinity. Shoot. I'm hoping they just bring back the Skittles Thunderlords, where they made Thunderlord have each element.
Oh,
because
okay.
they had the Thunderlord, and then they came out with the Void and Solar ones and just pooped them out, and I loved them because oh gosh, it's just every flavor Thunderlord. You had everything covered, and it was great.
I like that Zalo Supercell or Zalo Supercell, however that was pronounced.
That was a lot of fun.
We kind of got that with the Risk Runner or whatever.
Yeah, a little bit.
So here's the deal, and this is going to happen, but the question's going to be, when is it going to happen? But it's going to be solely for marketing, and it's going to be with a major expansion to make you spend your $40. Going to be the Hour Horns coming back.
Oh God,
coming back. I'm not saying it's going to be as good as it was, but it's the iconic Destiny 1 weapon. They did it once with Rise of Iron. You could get the black iron
back in black.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my only thinking why they wouldn't do that is because back in Vault of Glass D1, Heason's Vengeance ran with a perk called Mini Merv, and Mini Merv made it so that it was tracking clusters. So it was basically a little baby Yallarhorn. And they did not bring Mini Merv back, but they did bring back Firefly. So if they're not willing to bring back Mini Merv, I don't think they're going to bring back Yallarhorn.
Backgrounds are coming back. If it's the last year of Destiny 2 and it's the grand finale, and they just have to do 1 year without worrying about.
Now you're saying it in a different way.
No, I'm not.
That would be the way they bring it back.
The question is, what is the next exotic? Not what is
true.
the finale of D1 exotic.
That's true. That's true. I was thinking of like what's the most sure bet one to come back. So this is tough because we'll probably get one next season. But if we don't get one next season and the Dreadnought's coming back, like I've kind of planted my flag in, like I think it is, we might get Touch of Malice.
Oh, but we already have Tom with that solar
Tommy's matchbook.
Yeah, it's even got Tom in it.
We'll probably get something terrible like Dreg's Promise back or something.
Bro, don't you talk bad about my Dreg's Promise.
I had to go back and start looking some of these up because I've just
There's
lost.
There's not a lot that's left. That's exciting for most players.
Yeah.
They might bring one of their swords back.
Yeah.
Or the Dark Drinker and
Raise Lighter, and then the one nobody ever used.
What was the one that came with
Young Wolf's Howl?
Young Wolf's Howl. That might not be a bad choice.
I mean, it's basically Crown Splitter with the wave, because it launched a wave of fire out. So a wave frame sword
with solar, so you could get cells.
Oh no!
What was that? War Mines.
It's Wrath of Rasputin, I think.
Wrath of Rasputin. There it is.
It's about time for another exotic hand cannon. So maybe the first comes back.
You right. You right.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, I mean, what about the rocket launcher with the shark on it that came out in the Dark Below? It had the napalm
Yeah.
whenever
That
it hit.
left the trail. Yeah. What was that thing called? Oh my gosh.
Somebody's screaming at us right now listening.
I know. I'm trying to look it up.
God, these guys suck. How do these guys have a podcast? They can't even remember the name of one exotic from Destiny 1 that came out 7 years ago.
Dragon's Breath.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. But I mean, I forgot about Necrochasm though. And Super Good Advice, which like there was rumored super good advice.
Yeah, there's been a lot of there's been a lot of SGA kind of hints and leaks and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Does it have an AI in it as well?
Yeah, Super Good Advice. Yeah, I talked about it, man. Did you not listen to my lore that day?
I'm drawing pictures in Microsoft Paint and sending them to Jared.
Yeah. Praedyth made it because he got lonely because he was the last surviving member of that fire team. So he made it so he could talk.
How many other weapons have like an AI in them? Because Eyes of Tomorrow has your boy Clovis in it as the missile, the tracking. He likes the one that tracks the missiles or whatever, right?
Then there's
Rockets.
Darcy. Right. What's computer software or something?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
But they're one of the guns that like one of the people were put into Xenophage. Doesn't it have like a person's soul in it or something?
Yeah, but they don't react to anything. They're just inside of it.
Sorry, I got us off track. I'm sorry.
All right. Our last question here is: are GM Nightfalls too difficult? Go ahead, Fox.
No, they are not too difficult. They're the GM Nightfalls, and honestly, let's be honest. Like 2 of the GM Nightfalls and Day 1 raids are the only difficult things left in this game. It's kind of seeming like master raids have a chance to be that, but you're still going to have to kind of nerf yourself in the fact that you're going to have to put on pieces of gear that you haven't upgraded in order to maintain that 15 to 25 point difference in your light level with the recommended. So they're not too difficult. I think that you just have to practice. I mean, I bet we would cringe if we went back and watched our videos. I bet we would cringe.
For many reasons. You know why? Because we was playing on that 72 field of view. Yeah, we was on Xbox for the first 2 because whenever I got a PC for the second time, like in season 11, my CC, I had a lemon, and I had to send it back, and we had to play GMs back on Xbox. But no, they are not too difficult. We need different levels of stuff to do in this game. So, Lake of Shadows is a very easy beginner Grandmaster. We don't have that one this season, but we did during season arrivals. For this season we have what's the one on Nessus? Why did my mind blanked? We have the big inverted fire. That one. That is a great beginner Grandmaster. So if you haven't done any yet, when that one comes around in rotation, start on that one.
I think that's what next week or the week after is Inverted Spire, I believe.
I think next week's Disgrace, which isn't a terrible one either. I thought you get a couple wells and a couple Ursas. That one's slow and steady. Get that one done. So, in my opinion, why do you need to do all the Grandmasters, right? So eventually you get to a point where all the loot's on a rotation for the last 3 weeks. Maybe they'll do it 4 weeks this season because the 4th week of the old Adept Nightfall weapons coming into rotation, to where you can pick a week and just do the easiest Grandmaster all week to get the Adept weapon. So the only reason you need to do it to complete all 6 is for the title or gilding the title. So that is just a pure cosmetic thing in the game. For the percentage, I don't know what percentage of players end up gilding Conqueror this season, or how many players got last week's classway done. It's okay to not do them all because you can still get the loot at the end. That is like the real thing if most people want.
All right, I think. Absolutely, especially if you have like decent weapons or decent rolls on the weapons. You really don't even need the rolls. You're just willing to listen and fail a couple times, and don't be so anxious that you think we're going to get mad or whatever, because we won't. We're very patient. None of us are hotheads, or sometimes we might say things that sound like we're being elitist, but honestly, not that at all. Everybody's pretty chill, and usually we can pull somebody in to help if only one of us are on without too much difficulty. This up. Uh, Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. Join the Discord. We're always there. And you guys have anything you want to sign off with?
What are we naming this episode? Oh, it was huge. And, we had a weapon breakdown. Hung jury. That's relevant this week.
I think the podcast went pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. Well hung TWAB.
Jury? Well hung jury.
Oh, okay. Well hung
right.
TWAB. Let's go.
All right. Chad, you got anything? Jared, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Remember, watch us on the YouTube and listen to us on Spotify or iTunes. Subscribe, unsubscribe. Click the bell. I don't know. There's some other stuff they always say, but I usually tune it out. And go out this week and become legend. Love you guys.